This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code DETROIT to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
Detroit is the greatest! Straight up light you on fire for a coney dog right now.
Takes, throws, end zone, Calvin, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Motor City Sports Rant. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, Jason Jarvie. Looking forward to a conversation about football. We're going to start with Michigan State, second half of the podcast. Got to talk about the Detroit Lions. Jason, my friend, how are you?
I am good. A little fighting off a sinus congestion infection, but, powering through.
Man, I've been lucky in that I've never had to deal with that. My wife deals with it. I think my kids may have to deal with that. I just feel like I've been so blessed not to have to deal with any sinus issues. I breathe normally. I go about my business, relatively speaking, knock on wood. I'm a healthy guy. What's it like? What do you go through?
I don't get the full-blown sick. Like, some people, they get the flu and they're just out of commission for, weeks. Or, hopefully only a couple days. But, there are people who they will go, at least, a week or two. But for me, I usually always, sometime around the winter or the fall time, I get, it's an annoying, it's just a cold, essentially. But, I don't always have a runny nose. But I feel it more, in my chest and, I get a little bit wheezy, and it's always worse in the beginning of the day and the end of the day. So, recording a little bit later, I'm going to be a little bit more raspy. I'll be a little bit more low voice like this.
Well, you know what makes me sick? Watching Michigan State football. That makes me actually nauseous and disgusted at the highest levels. Look, I'm not mad that they lost to Ohio State. I'm mad that within the game, within the confines of the contest, what Michigan State does well, they didn't bring it against Ohio State. The defense was gashed all over the field, and at the very least, Michigan State did not cover the spread. So it was disappointing, in that Ohio State was just able to dominate Michigan State. And if you're looking at that game as a measuring stick, Michigan State is way, way at the back of the line. And Ryan Day, give him credit. In 1 year, obviously he's familiar with the program, being that he was the former offensive coordinator, now the new head man at Ohio State. But give him credit. He's got the quarterback, he's got a running game, and he's got that offense purring like a nice kitten. And it was nice to see at least some good offense on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and it helps that he inherited an amazing program and an elite program in Ohio State. But yeah, it was sad to watch. For the first quarter, you thought maybe the Spartans can grind this out and maybe not win, but keep it really close and maybe expose Ohio State. But all we really did was show that Ohio State truly is a national power and will likely be one of the 4 college football playoff teams at the end.
Yeah. So what was your takeaway? I mean, Mark Dantonio now, when you look at it, people are starting to kind of read the tea leaves here in that outside of wins versus Rutgers, the team basically has been 500 for the past 3 or 4 years. And that's never a good sign. Never a good sign at all. When you look at the trajectory of a program, you and I have talked about it in previous podcasts. We've discussed our thoughts regarding Michigan State. Right now, I put a tweet out there on our Twitter page. It's Michigan State University.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same old thing. We're getting it every single year. And, I mean, at this point, I'm done with the whole offensive, whatever you want to call it, the coaches. I mean, it's just it's a carousel of who's going where. They completely need to revamp it. There needs to be a change at the end of this year. And if there isn't, then you're really talking about the end of the Mark Dantonio era. Because if it's not going to happen at the end of this year, if he's going to, just stand pat and not want to change, there either needs to be, hey, you got to retire now, or we're going to end up seeing Mark Dantonio fired, which I don't think anybody wants to see. Nobody wants to see Mark Dantonio fired. I mean, I would prefer to see him be able to turn this around, but he's got to win that faith back from me now.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, Ryan Day's offense ran circles. I mean, the tackling, I had not seen a game where Michigan State tackled that poorly in so long. Ohio State was just able to, average a lot of yards per carry. And really, at the end of the day, you also can look at it, if you want to break it down within the game, Michigan State early on kept it close. There were critical moments. I mean, I think you saw it and probably were the most frustrated when you saw Brian Lewerke airmail an open receiver that would have potentially led to maybe even a scoring touchdown. Brian Lewerke didn't play his best game, and once Ohio State broke it open, they were off to the races. But, prior to that happening, Michigan State was driving. They had the football. And Brian Lewerke missed the key throw, and he didn't miss it by a little bit. He airmailed the guy by a good, I think the ball was maybe a yard or two above his head. It was just, you look at it and you go, wow, Justin Fields, Brian Lewerke. Many may say, well, it's not Brian Lewerke's fault. There's issues now all over the place. You heard earlier on Tuesday that Ladarius Jefferson's gone. He's entered the transfer the transfer portal, as they call it. But all around Michigan State, you just don't get that vibe of hope. You get that, this is what they are. And Mark Dantonio's biggest mistake was not changing with the times. He stayed stubborn. And even the strength of the team, the defense, you had guys that you thought would be productive not really show up.
Yeah, and just on both sides of the ball, it was disappointing that it was like they just gave up in the game. And I mean, you got to give credit to Ohio State. J.K. Dobbins is one of the best running backs in the country right now. Justin Fields, I think it's a little still questionable on him. I know he's a great quarterback. I'm just not sure. Has he really faced? What's he going to do against the big teams, against an Alabama, against a Clemson? What will he do against that type of team? But it's sad that we thought we had a elite defense, and that's what we hung our hat on. And to see the stat towards the end of the game of up until now we'd held teams to rushing 55 yards per game, and they gashed us for over 300 yards rushing. And that's what you wanted to hang your hat on this season, that our defense is going to keep us in games. And this is one of those worst case scenarios where the defense can't keep you in the game, and the offense isn't going to be able to bring you back from, down 17 points, because as bad as it was, we were still within striking distance. If maybe Brian Lewerke forgot that he was Brian Lewerke. Maybe he actually acted like Kirk Cousins or Connor Cook when they played in Michigan State. Maybe, it make it a little bit more interesting. But it was a complete failure all around on all phases of the Michigan State team.
Yeah, and one of those games where it's prime time. Prior to the game, the talk was that Michigan State probably had to play damn near perfect to be in the game, but you just look at it all the way around. I just am so shocked. I really am surprised at the level of stubbornness by Mark Dantonio. You don't survey the landscape. You don't see Ohio State roll over Michigan. You don't see that and go, wow, and then they retain the same guy that led the offensive charge. Ohio State has been pretty much rolling offensively for 2 seasons. You don't look at that and go, man, I want some of that. You double down on your defense. You double down on this notion that defense wins championships. And yeah, you got some senior leaders, but I think maybe this year might signal to him, because now, upcoming, Jason, they're going to play Wisconsin. And Wisconsin's probably going to do the same thing that Ohio State did. They're going to try their absolute best to run the football with a very talented running back. So I just am very, very surprised that Mark Dantonio was not willing to change. He's going to go down with the ship. And I don't see Michigan State turning it around, at least on the football side of things. They're going to roll with defense. People are now recognizing, wow, the offense is stale. It's damn near 10 years old, and it's not going to change. It's not going to improve. You basically wasted Brian Lewerke, another quarterback that you've gone through several seasons, and you're not going to really see the fruits of the labor. He's going to come through that program.
There's no wasting Brian Lewerke. Brian Lewerke sucks. It's not like this is some generational talent.
No,
you wasted Spartan fans' lives and their seasons with Brian Lewerke.
Well, I'm reading other things. People kind of are coming to his defense, and they're saying, well, it's not really Brian Lewerke's fault that the entire system is predicated on a running game that's not going to go anywhere.
Well, the only place where Brian Lewerke would really succeed, you put him in Washington State, where Gardner Minshew and the legend of the stash can go out and lead the nation in passing yards, and whoever Joe Schmo is in Washington State is again leading in passing yards. If you don't have the offense that's suited towards you, then you're not gonna succeed. I think I don't know. I'm not sure if Brian Lewerke would have been this great quarterback anyways.
Okay, so you're kind of a guy that says, you know what? He doesn't make the big throws.
I was done with Lewerke last year, but, to be fair.
Okay, so you're down on him. Are you surprised at Mark Dantonio and his his pure stubbornness and not willing to change and really saying, I'm going to build a defense and then I'm just going to roll with it? I just can't believe someone, despite the entire country, your whole fan base telling you, change, make a change, that he just stuck to his guns. I'm really, really surprised.
I'm not surprised. Did you really expect them to change? Maybe at the end of this season, but no way in the middle of this season are we going to see any type of change from Mark Dantonio in this offense. The hope was that your defense was going to save you, and we got exposed on Saturday, and it was much more enjoyable to tune over onto the Detroit Red Wings, on Saturday and watch them win their season opener than, just watching Michigan State pound it away and get pounded on defense.
Do you see this continuing Saturday against Wisconsin?
Unless, Mark Dantonio gets red ass this whole week and, they come out and completely change the way that they played on this past Saturday. I see, Jonathan Taylor being able to go out there and completely run all over this Michigan State, defense. He did it against Michigan. So I definitely see him being able to do that. The only thing that's different is, they may not have as many of the offensive weapons that Ohio State has. So with Michigan State, from what I saw on defense, it looked like they were really just, trying to prevent the big play. They looked like they were in zone a lot, and that's why you saw, Justin Fields going out there being able to, he had a ton of time. They weren't getting, tons of pressure on him, and when they did, he was able to move with it because that's the type of quarterback he is. And when you're in zone, you're able to find pockets, and that's one of a quarterback's best friends. So I'm not sure if Wisconsin will be able to, completely go all out in the run, because if they do that, then I think Michigan State might be able to key in on that, but that's going to be your only hope.
Point blank, is the Mark Dantonio era over? Is this the beginning of the end? Are we going to see a 3-5 loss team and a really disappointing season? You've already starting to see a little bit of, I don't know what to make of it when these athletes enter the transfer portal, but Ladarius Jefferson could have had a future at Michigan State, and I know that others have emerged and things like that. This whole transfer portal is very interesting. I don't know if you've read kind of the noise surrounding it. A lot of these young athletes are potentially going to maybe just play 4 games and then reevaluate their situations, because they recognize, hey, if I'm not playing, if I don't like my role on the team, if somebody else is just better than me, I'm out. I'm going to bounce. And it's hit Michigan State, and this latest one, Ladarius Jefferson. I just don't see the vibe around Michigan State right now being positive. Earlier on Tuesday, even Mark Dantonio was asked. He was asked point blank. He said, the reporter asked him, are you a victim of your own success? Is the reason why there's so much upheaval is that, there's a big expectation that potentially with a great defense and some seniors, you're going to do some things, and this year has not met any of the expectations from supporters.
It's tough to say, is the Mark Dantonio era over? And, I think for the best, what would be best for us is if he did decide to go and retire at the end of this year, because I just don't see this getting dramatically better. I would love for him to go out and maybe win a dirty Big Ten title, maybe not be the best in the division and not be a college football playoff contender, but win a Big Ten title. That would be, the dream scenario for Mark Dantonio. But I don't see them making this, amazing, 12-0, 11-1 run and somehow getting to a college football playoff. It's not in the cards, at least not yet. And I think it would take too long. It's just not coming. We don't have the talent. The talent isn't coming in. Not to say that the talent that we have is bad. It's just that the teams that are the good teams, the Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, they have better talent coming in. And it would take literally a miracle for Michigan State to somehow run the table and get us into the national championship picture.
Yeah.
So, Mark Dantonio, please, it's my plea to you. Just, go out, announce your retirement. It's probably not going to be great for Michigan State for a couple of years, unless we get some hot shot. Didn't I call at the beginning of the season? Hey, look out for Minnesota.
You did.
I called that at the beginning of the season, and who would be a great replacement for Mark Dantonio? Row the boat, PJ Fleck.
Okay, yeah, I tweeted it out watching Michigan and Michigan State. I've definitely watched a lot more football in this fall, and both programs probably have 2 very angry fan bases, and at this point in time, I think both programs should seriously consider upgrading their coaches, because it's 2019. If you're not going to upgrade your offense, if you're going to go into a game, like the Wolverines and score 10 points in 2019, that's not a good thing. If you're Michigan State and you're struggling offensively and it's not getting better, you don't see that upward trajectory, it's a bad sign, and it's a bad sign all the way around for the 2 big college teams in the state of Michigan. But we're going to turn our attention briefly to the Detroit Lions, a little bit more hope there. I want to get Jason's sense of, the Detroit Lions squad coming after the bye week, now approaching a huge game against the Green Bay Packers, but I do want to show love to one of our great sponsors, the Motor City Pawnbrokers. The reason why we're able to keep the lights on The microphone's hot here in our Sterling Heights studio is because of great sponsors, and one of them is the Motor City Pawnbrokers. The Motor City Pawnbrokers are the one-stop pawn shop when you're in need of quality, brand-name new, or pre-owned merchandise, with locations in Detroit, Ferndale, Roseville, and Warren. Their mission is to deliver exceptional value. Today, go check out all the deals, all the great pricing at MotorCityPawnbrokers.com. That's MotorCityPawnbrokers.com. And if you're in the area and you see the Motor City Pawn Shop, go check it out. Mark and the crew, they've dedicated their time to change the perception of what pawn shops are. Go into one of the 4 locations. They have great customer service, and tell them the Detroit Sports Podcast sent you. Again, visit MotorCityPawnbrokers.com, a great sponsor of the Detroit Sports Podcast. All right, Jason, in our remaining time here, how are you feeling about the Lions being 2-1-1 after the bye week? Now they're doing their preparation. You know, Matt Patricia spoke via teleconference earlier on Tuesday, and he said, look, Aaron Rodgers' competitiveness makes me nervous, and having success against them the last year, the Lions defeated Green Bay twice last year. Doesn't make him confident. It makes him more nervous because Aaron Rodgers is going to be hell-bent at home, Lambeau Field, next Monday night to earn that victory. So it's going to be tough all the way around, and I think it's just the worst possible time right now for the Lions to play Green Bay. After their win against Dallas, they're going to be confident. You know, they've established a run game. Aaron Rodgers is going to want to really light it up against Stafford and the Lions. I think it's going to be a tough one, but, you know, at least the Lions right now are above 500. They've won 50% of their games.
You know, maybe you got to have a little bit of hope going into this game. We're coming off our bye. We have 2 weeks to prepare for this Green Bay team and Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, maybe that big game against the Dallas Cowboys actually plays into the strength of the Detroit Lions. You know, they were able to run all over to the Dallas Cowboys. And, you know, I really like Aaron Jones. I think he's a very good running back. But if our strength is supposed to be stopping the run, then maybe they go into this confident that they can get the run game started. And if our defense, I mean, you know, we can load up the box, and if we can, you know, get some stops early on and our offense can do what we know it can do, you know, we're going to be in this game. You know, it always makes me nervous going into Lambeau Field, playing up against Aaron Rodgers. It's always going to be it's a tough game. It's never going to be an easy win. So, but I have probably more confidence that I've had in years past going into this game.
What are the couple of factors that give you that confidence at this point in time? What are you holding your hat on?
You know, I think that our offense is really starting to gel. I think you saw in the Chiefs game that there weren't, outside of all that, you know, the third quarter and all the fumbles, you know, I think that, you know, they're really working in Kerryon Johnson. You know, he's becoming more of a lead back instead of, you know, playing second fiddle to somebody. You know, we have a healthy, you know, Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones. You know, I'm not sure. Are we getting T.J. Hockenson and Danny Amendola back for this game?
Early on, Patricia was asked about that, and obviously he's going to hold that tight to the vest as the injury report comes out on Wednesday. So I think the confidence is probably going to be higher that a lot of the Lions guys are going to be healthier because of the extra day, the extra week. So I think that the Lions are going to put out a roster and put out a team that's going to have a real strong chance to compete. I think they're going to have a lot of their horses back.
So, I mean, if we have all those guys healthy, you got to feel confident about that. You know, I want to hope that Darius Slay is going to get up and come to this game. And, you know, even though it's killing me on my fantasy team, you know, maybe is Devontae Adams, is he going to be 100% in this game? I'm not sure. You know, he sat out the last game. And, you know, they didn't really need him because Aaron Jones, you know, just torched the Cowboys. But, you know, are they going to have Devontae Adams? And, you know, are they going to be able to – is it going to be full health? So I think there's got to be some confidence going in there that we can come in, we can compete with the Green Bay Packers. It's no longer, you know, they're this vaunted team that we never win in Lambeau Field. And really, that was the narrative for my entire, you know, essentially my childhood into my teenager years. that was my entire, life growing up as a kid, as a teenager, going into my young adult life. We just didn't win in Lambeau Field. And, that narrative has changed. That curse is lifted. So that's what gives me confidence going into this Monday night game, that, if we're really going to be, if this organization is different and we're going to get better, we're going to win a game that people don't really expect us to win.
Okay. I do like a lot of your hope and sentiment. I like the fact that you're confident about the Lions. It's just a tough factor in that you also have to look at the opposition. Aaron Rodgers, I think head-to-head against Stafford, probably the Packers have the slight edge there, the running game. Now, the Lions do got to do a better job. They're giving up a ton of yards against the rush. They got to do a little bit better job of pressuring the quarterback. But if they can force those turnovers, they've been a team that's shown that they can, really put it to, the offense. And so I like what I'm seeing in terms of the Lions defense and their competitiveness. Yes, it will be a close game, but I think the factor that's going to be really tough is Monday night, the big stage. Aaron Rodgers, 4-1, wanting to retain that spot to be number one. The Lions got to show out. They do have to actually change it up a little bit, maybe a couple razzle-dazzle plays, maybe, some points from the defense. It's going to be a super tough situation, but I think it's tough because this is the game where a lot of people want to see, the Lions step up. They want to see Stafford step up. They want to see that proverbial big game on the road, and they want to see the Lions kind of actually close the deal. Because even though there was a lot of positive press and there was a lot of positivity surrounding the Lions after the Chiefs game, they lost the game. And there are still a lot of boisterous people that are saying, hey, you still got to win these games. Moral victories don't mean diddly squat. And this is an opportunity, big game on the road. Matt Patricia's had success. It would do a whole heck of a lot for the Lions and that organization to come away after a Monday night game in first place in the division. I think you might have a lot more people buying in with a win there.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys for this game is going to be, what kind of pressure can you get on Aaron Rodgers, and can you make him uncomfortable? Because if we're giving Aaron Rodgers all day long, that he is going to absolutely shred our defense. I think he knows that he can pick apart pretty much any defense if he gets the time, and that's going to be the key. We need Trey Flowers, and we need, our linebackers have been huge in getting pressure for us. So it's really going to be interesting to see what, Pasqualoni and the defense really dials up on Aaron Rodgers. And I want to see them pressure him early and, maybe not get sacks. I'm not calling for, 10 sacks, but I want them to make him uncomfortable, make him rush throws, and don't let him just pick apart the defense.
So what are your thoughts? How do you think this shakes out? Do you see them? If you were to put a percentage, what percentage chance do the Lions win?
Percentage of the Lions chance to win, I don't want to just say 50-50 shot. I'll give them a 45% chance to win, because I think you have to give the edge to the Green Bay Packers because, they're at home. It's a big stage, but, the pressure is going to be on them. So I'm not saying that there's absolutely no chance, but you got to give a little bit of edge to the Packers in this game.
Yeah, got to give them an edge. You got to stop Aaron Rodgers. You got to stop the running game. I don't want to see. That's the one thing I don't want to see. I don't want to see the Green Bay running back, waving to the Detroit Lions. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Jared Davis or Jelani Tavai getting waved at, or no highlight reel, or no Hail Marys, nothing crazy, and hold the lead. If you can earn a lead against the Green Bay Packers, then go out there and handle your business. But yeah, after the bye week, how did you experience the week without football? It was great for me because things kind of slowed down on the SI front. Got a chance to watch other teams. I'm kind of buying into the 49ers. I got a chance to watch them on Monday night. Dude, they look nice, and they were able to handle the Browns. I don't know how much stock people are taking, into a victory against the Browns, but I thought the 49ers played really well. It was nice to kind of take a break at this point in time, but 12 games in 12 weeks, we're now going to get our fill of the Lions in the next 3 months.
Yeah, I really, I've come to enjoy the bye week for the Lions, because as much as I do enjoy the NFL season and love watching the Lions, on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. You know, the week that they don't play, I kind of just relax from football. You know, I'm not worried about watching any games, even though we got fantasy. I'm not worried about that. And I was able to have a great day with my wife and my kid. And, you know, it was a great weekend outside of, you know, the disaster on Saturday. But hey, the Red Wings won, and the Red Wings are they're gonna go 82-0, right?
Hey, Anthony Manta's gonna have 200 goals.
Seriously,
yeah,
he might have more.
Definitely keep paying attention. Let's keep paying attention this week.
4 goals a game.
Yes, let's keep paying attention. The Wings are in action tonight, so I look forward to the opportunity to break it down. I know maybe it's a dawning of a new era with Steve Yzerman. Maybe we'll talk more. We got the Top Shelf podcast that talks and breaks down all things Red Wings hockey on Fridays. And, you know, I know you're a big fan of the Red Wings as well. And maybe we'll go down there, you and I, a little bit, and you can fill me in on some of the moves that have been made. Obviously, I know that some trades have been made, some call-ups have happened, and, you know, some small tinkering from Yzerman might even just pay some awesome dividends. We shall see.
Yep, indeed.
Always enjoy talking football with Jason Jarvie. Follow him on Twitter at Jarvie the King. You can follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Thanks again, everybody, for your time. You can follow and download all the shows on this network anywhere your favorite podcast is housed. All you got to do is search Detroit Sports Podcast, and our various shows will pop up, and I think you'll like it. Thank you, Jason. I hope you have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Later, man.
Okay, nice, idiot. F you. Bye-bye.
Good day, sir. I said good day.
All right. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Loser.